Support for Steppin' Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.
Good evening, I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin' Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, what a group! Historian Sally Reeves, here to talk about a very special seminar event that focuses on the Canadian/New Orleans connection in the city's early days. Welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Poppy Tucker, yay! Host of the radio program Louisiana Eats, airing twice weekly on WWNO Radio, and a brand new book we'll hear about shortly. And we're so glad she's back. Vanessa Schmid, Senior Research Curator for the European Art, of course, of NOMA, New Orleans Museum of Art, and boy, does she have something to show us. And Jeff Roberson, a.k.a. Varla Jean Merman, but he's wearing his directing hat tonight.
And a beard.
And a beard, yes. So we can't do that with Varla Jean, telling us about a brand new show, and we're very excited about that. We also will have a performance by songwriter, guitarist, and Grammy nominee Greg Barnhill, coinciding with the first annual Ozone Songwriters Festival. But first up, Poppy. Oh, Poppy, it's beautiful.
Oh, Peggy, it's here. I'm so excited. My new cookbook, number 5, the Pascal's Manali Cookbook. And we're launching the book tomorrow at the restaurant. Normally, they don't open till 5 o'clock, but we are going to be there tomorrow from 3 to 5 at Pascal's Manali Restaurant and signing books and just having a great time. So I hope
it's full of great recipes, but also archival pictures, too.
Exactly, and I brought some of those along because I thought they'd fascinate you. You know, normally when you would see Pascal Radasta of Pascal's Manali, he would have a suit on. He was always real duded up, you know. But there was one shot of him wearing an apron, and I love that picture because to me, he looks like he's ready to go into the kitchen and invent famous barbecued shrimp, as he did do there at the restaurant in the 50s. And look at the rest of the pictures. They're so adorable. Peggy, look at the guy on the far left up front. He's eating crawfish bisque with his fingers and a bib and a spoon. You know, people from out of town don't understand that. And I've been telling people for 30 years from out of town, well, there's the picture. And this was at a big party for Pascal. I love this. This is what Christmas is like in 1938. We think that that's Diamond Jim Moran, some gangster mall standing next to him. And I swear, I think the guy on the far right must be packing heat. He looks like he's got... The book is filled with, look at this memory. I don't remember a snowstorm in 1964 on New Year's Eve. And, you know, my dear friend Sam Hanna took these beautiful photographs. And there's Elizabeth and Rachel, 2 hands from the 5th generation, having a little barbecued shrimp.
Congratulations.
Now, thank you. And next Thursday on the 25th, we will also be signing books with food tastings at Garden District Books. Then at GW Finn, something so excited. The first ever Spirit Week, and that's Spear, S-P-E-A-R. You know, Tenny Flynn is one of the few chefs in the country who can go out, spear fish, and sell them at his own restaurant. And so they're having a whole week of activities. But Tuesday and Wednesday, the 23rd and 24th, there's going to be a multiple course dinner featuring fish that were specifically speared for the dinner guests that night. Fishermen Ronnie Collins and Tyler McDonald will be there to discuss how they target these special fish and catch them, along with photos and videos. I know that cobia, tuna, lionfish, and snapper will all be on the menu. The dinner's $125, and it's going to be a great time. And then talking about something completely different, tomorrow is the 6th annual Edible Schoolyard New Orleans Sweet Potato Fest from 9:30 until 1 o'clock at the Arthur Ashe Charter School in Gentilly. There'll be a parade with the Ashe Aces Marching Unit. The New Orleans Food Co-op will be on parade, the 24 Karat Gardens. There'll be a hands-on harvest of their edible schoolyard sweet potato beds. There'll be free sweet potatoes for families to take home, an audience-awarded sweet potato cook-off featuring local big-name chefs, a family sweet potato cook-off, bike-powered sweet potato smoothies. I mean, this is just going to be quite a day, all about the sweet potatoes from 9:30 until 1. So
Wow.
go to that and then come on over to Pascal Manali's and
One
see
day.
me for a book. I'm so tickled. Thank
Once
you,
again,
Peggy.
congratulations.
Thank you.
And Sally, it's been quite a year for historians,
It
especially
has.
who love New Orleans. 300
has.
years of history, and you're adding to the chronicling, the celebration.
We are. Well, I'm here to talk about a wonderful official tricentennial event, which the Canadian Consulate here and the Louisiana Historical Society have been planning all year. And the idea is to focus on the contributions of the French Canadians and the Native Americans who were here for 20 years before New Orleans was founded, and laying the groundwork for the founding of New Orleans, which didn't just fall out of the sky. And we wanted to celebrate their contributions. And so we're having a marvelous symposium, and underwritten by two wonderful sponsors, the Shell and the First Bank, who have made it possible for us to have a very reasonable fee of $40, which covers the entire day, including the luncheon, and a champagne reception along Bayou St. John, where Iberville and Bienville themselves, with their Native American guides, will greet us.
And we should remind, for the uninitiated, that of course Bienville and Iberville were from Canada.
Well, yes, this is a French-Canadian project, and with the Native Americans. I am wearing a pin made by a native Homa who made this out of cured alligator hide. And she sells it at the Petite House Fair.
And so
in the
Dayton
summer.
Place?
So this is at Metairie Park Country Day, which has given us their marvelous auditorium, free parking, and we were bringing together scholars in Canadian history, French colonial architecture, the French language journals of the period, travel journals, Native Americans who were here and who are still here today.
And I know you brought along some maps, some historic maps that are
so this is
key to all of
one of
this.
these maps that's the Sartine map of the upper river, where Bienville and Iberville and their guides went the first journey in 1699 and met the Bayou Gulas and the Homa Indians, who will warmly welcome them. And so there's some of their villages on this famous map. And then here is another version of the Sartine map with the Barrier Islands that they began to name as they reached the coast. So all these familiar names, Île aux Chats, Cat Island, Île aux Vaisseaux, the Ship Island, were all named places that were bestowed as they reached these places in 1699.
So all the details, LouisianaHistoricalSociety.org.
So to sign up, the LouisianaHistoricalSociety.org is the place to go.
Great,
Yeah.
great. And what I like, though, also about what you do is you make it very accessible. So it's never snooty.
Oh no! We're making this as reasonable as possible because we want many people to come.
Yes, and we want to acknowledge Pat Denishow, of course.
Pat
who's the
Denishow, the
honorary
local
consul
honorary consul of Canada,
very supportive of many
and the
things.
Historical Society members have been working very hard on this.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Clarence Newen gave us the name of a former Saints star who wore the number 12 and the position he played. The answers, of course, Marcus Colston, and who was the Saints wide receiver for so many years. Now, tonight's question. In the movie Pretty Baby, who played a mother and who played her daughter working in Storyville? Email your answers to Steppin Out at WYS.org. Our prizes: a year subscription to Louisiana Life magazine, a t-shirt with the top 10 classic veggie literary works, including Gourd with the Wind, and a sweet potato named Desire. You love that, Poppy. From our friends at WearableVegetables.com, along with a pair of free admission passes to either the Audubon Zoo, Aquarium of the Americas, or the Butterfly Garden and Insectarium. You can go to WYS.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including the Chamber Music Festival next week, the Halloween Costume Boutique at the Healing Center this Sunday, and the Beautification Fall Garden Show. That's from 10 to 3 tomorrow at LaSalle Park, adjacent to Baby Cakes Field, formerly Zephyr Field. You can also link to our WYS YouTube channel to see our program. Now, Vanessa, how many years have you been working on this?
Yeah, it feels like a decade, but it's been almost 3 years, that I have been working on this project.
It turns out, we should set this up, the Duke d'Orléans, had a good taste in collecting art, didn't he? And you're kind of pulling it all together again for the New Orleans Museum of Art.
Yes, he was in fact probably one of the greatest connoisseurs and of his period in the 18th century. And so, of course, New Orleans, let's start with why we're doing this, right? New Orleans was named after Philippe II, Duke of Orleans. And as an art museum, the institution was thinking how we could celebrate, and of course we have a range of initiatives this year. And one of the things about our Philippe is that he was one of the greatest art collectors in actually the history of European art. At his death, the inventory of paintings is 772. And that was split between certain houses, but in his palace in Paris, 535 paintings, of which we have traced for this project, 185 are in public institutions, so many have been lost. And so actually here is our man on the screen, and this is what I've put as our title wall to the exhibition. He is commanding in his presence, and this is an extraordinary bust that's never left Versailles, probably even from when it was made in 1715.
Congrats.
So a wonderful loan for us. This is also this wonderful piece that starts the show about our subject, where Philippe is presented. He's on the right is Minerva, the goddess of the arts and war. On the left, he's being crowned by fame and history. And just in front of him is law, and what is on the other side is the arts. So he's been celebrated not just as a regent, but as the arts. That's part of his public persona, is his love of art. And he worked closely with his court painter. Here's our other portrait that has actually come from our twin city of Orleans in France. And the director was, this is now on the wall, and she brought it herself personally because she wanted to see our city. And Philippe worked very closely with his court painter, Antoine Coipel. And what we're looking at right now is this extraordinary ceiling that Coipel made for the Duke as the centerpiece of his palace. The entire hall that this was in was 140 feet long. The great centerpiece was destroyed just before the French Revolution, but this is the most important record of it, and this is the record, this is what the artist and his descendants kept. So this has never left France and coming to us.
A little Rembrandt
and
to add
right
to
here is one of America's greatest treasures. This is from the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. It is almost never lent. It's on the do not lend list. And we were able to secure it for the show because of its status at the Duke's collection and also and where it was placed, and is the extraordinary fame of this picture. It is an epic landscape of a humble subject, a mill. And I think this is the last image we brought, so hopefully we're whetting your palate. This is by Peter Paul Rubens, the great court artist working in the 1630s and 20s and 30s. And this is the triumphal crowning of Rome. If you look at the lower right, just under the lettering, you see Romulus and Remus with the she-wolf, right, of Rome. And so this is the personification of Rome. She's being crowned by fame. And this was one of a whole suite of oil sketches that was made that were then translated into grand tapestry series. And the Duke had the whole tapestry series. So this exhibition, we are in the run-in, opens to the public next Friday. I have to say today, when I left here, 60% or 70% of the show is hung. The installation is looking absolutely stunning. I have to say the wall colors are just sing and bring the pieces to life.
Do you have a favorite piece?
Oh, a favorite piece. I have to say, you know, my field, what I do is I cover it all, but I love Dutch and Flemish art, and the Rembrandt is, that's one of the loans that when I got it, my heart stopped.
Well, it's taking my breath away looking at the
And
images.
so we have, what
Congratulations.
we're bringing is 38 masterpieces to tell the story of the collection, when it was sold, and a whole range of aspects of the collection. And things are here from 25 lending institutions around the world. The Louvre, Versailles, the National Galleries of London, Scotland, Ireland, Washington, D.C. Wow. So it's a truly great celebration of our city.
Thank you, Vanessa, and congratulations to you. And now it's time for our other artist spotlight. Tonight we are showcasing the artwork of New Orleans-based painter Sandra Burchell. This is called Degas Glow. Wow. And the other one is entitled Curtains. These, as well as more of her paintings, are at the Carol Robinson Gallery. It's a current exhibit called Luminous Spaces, and the exhibit runs until October the 30th, and that's, of course, at the corner of Magazine and Napoleon. Earlier today, local songwriter, guitarist, and Grammy nominee Greg Barnhill shared with us news about the first ever Ozone Music Writers Festival in Mandeville. Greg, the Songwriters Conference, Mandeville, over 100 performers.
Yeah.
It's going to be very busy.
Pretty busy, I'll say. Yeah, we got some great guys, and we got some guys coming down from Nashville and points beyond, who are going to be we're going to have a special show on Saturday night. Starts at 8 o'clock. We'll have a mixer at 7 and starts at 8. Top all hit songwriters written, hit you name it, hit list of hit lists.
But the goal is you're president of the conference,
Yes.
but also of a foundation.
Yes, it's called the Ozone Music Education Foundation. What we're doing is we're raising money for people to come in and teach the business of music to students, to people who are wanting to learn about how actually the music business works in LA, New York, and Nashville. We're bringing that business down here, hoping to create a new music business in New Orleans, a sustainable music business that's going to last, you know. And so it's sort of like building infrastructure, and we're just at the very first beginnings of that. So.
You're living at Nashville, and of course, a very successful songwriter, and we'll hear more about that in a second. But you're originally from the New Orleans area.
Yes, I'm born and raised here. Hotel Dieu Hospital, and check the records.
Okay. And how did you get started?
I got started, actually, I was 12 years old. I was writing songs, and I just wanted to, I just picked up a guitar and started making up words, and people listened, and next thing you know, I was like writing songs, and I wasn't really writing them to make money. I was just writing them because I enjoyed the process. And then I didn't know you could make money doing it. But years later, my mom went to Nashville, and she was going to Nashville, and she got sick, and I had to go in her place. And so I got picked up by Warner Brothers as an artist, and they found me, and I was in the.
The rest is history.
Yeah, exactly.
GregBarnhill.com,
Yep.
and you've written for Trisha Yearwood,
Yep.
Amy Grant,
Etta
Vince
James.
Gill,
Yep.
Etta James.
Yep.
The list is long. Congratulations. What are you going to play for us tonight?
I'm going to play House of Love. This Amy Grant, Vince Gill, big hit that was a hit for me. So.
Well, congratulations. I'll get out the way.
Thanks, yeah.
Oh, I bet you any amount of money he'll be coming back to you. Oh, I know there ain't no doubt about it. Sometimes life is funny. You think you're in your darkest hour when the lights start coming on in our house of love. Oh, you've been up all night thinking it was over. He's been out of sight, at least for the moment. But when something is strong, it's a hold on you. The odds are 99 to 1. It's got a hold on him too. Well, I bet you any amount of money he'll be coming back to you. Oh, I know there ain't no doubt about it. Sometimes life is funny. You think you're in your darkest hour when the lights start coming on in a house of love. Oh, now when the house is dark and you're all alone inside, oh, you better listen to your heart, put away your foolish pride. Cause when the storm is breaking and thunder shakes the walls, love with a firm foundation ain't never, ever, ever gonna fall. Well, I'll bet you any amount of money he'll be coming back to you. Oh, I know there ain't no doubt about it. Sometimes life is funny. You think you're in your darkest hour when the lights start coming on in our house alone. Yeah, when the lights start coming on in our house alone. Said when the lights start coming on in our house alone. Oh, when the lights, I said when the lights start coming on in a house of love. Yeah!
Whoa, remember, you can see Greg Barnhill perform at the Ozone Songwriters Festival. It's on the North Shore. And this Sunday, looking forward to it, and Saturday, oh, we're so excited. Go to ozonemusic.org and you can see a full list of who's performing. But now, speaking of performing, oh my goodness, Jeff Roberson's here. Ah, we're so glad because you were so versatile, but you're wearing your director's hat today.
Yes, I helped write this show. It's an amazing soprano named Marisol Montalvo. She's singing at NOCA on November 1st, and it's a story of her life. And she's a very successful modern music singer, contemporary music. And because she does that, she's not really known because, you know, most of the classical singers we know sing the very classical repertoire, the Mozart, the Verdi. But it talks about why she sang these songs. She's a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx, and why she chose modern music was because she liked to sing and nobody knew it because then they had nothing to compare it to. Because if you think of a Mozart aria, we all know how it is supposed to sound because we know the best singers in the world who have sung them. And that was so stressful for her that she chose modern music, but also she became addicted, and this sounds insane, to cortisone and prednisone, which is an anti-inflammatory. And she couldn't sing without it because it would, you know, if you're not singing exactly properly, you know, you can slightly, you know, if you scream too much, get hoarse. So she kept taking this medication throughout her career and so that she could sing without worrying about it, without technique, and destroyed her voice, completely destroyed it, and had to have surgery by the same guy who did Adele's and Steven Tyler's voice. But it's a fascinating story of how, you know, how it's called Mad Scene, and she doesn't sing just modern music. She sings this Mad Scene from Lucia and Ophelia, but how classical singing can drive you mad because it is your voice, and you have to constantly be worried about it. You know, there's no champagne, there's no coffee, there's no screaming, there's always having to go to bed on time to hit that perfect high note that everybody knows and knows how it should sound.
So she, you know, talks about her life and her
Yes.
career, and then in between those, she sings excerpts from
amazing
famous
songs.
arias.
Yes, very famous arias.
operas.
You know, Je veux vivre from Romeo and Juliet, but she sings a lot of musical theater like Sondheim, Greenfinch, and Lindenbird, and Guinevere, stuff from Guinevere from Camelot. I mean, she's an amazing singer, and she's so funny. And she tells hilarious stories about how she got cast as Maria in West Side Story in Switzerland. But and she's a Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx. Perfect casting, right? But when she got there, they thought she was too dark for the role because Natalie Wood was not dark in the movie. So Swiss people thought that Puerto Rican people looked like Natalie Wood. It's just very funny. And she talks about colorblind casting. It's just a very fascinating story. And she was also runner-up to Miss America in the late 80s.
Oh,
And so it's a
wow.
fascinating story. And the reason the Kathleen Battle was one of the judges. And so that really helped her career get started.
Oh,
It's
goodness.
a fascinating
So once again,
story.
what is this? And it's
called
one night
Mad
only,
Scene.
or-
It's one night only. Mad Scene. It has all different genres of music, not just modern. She sings some modern, and you can really understand why she excels in that. But it is all types of classical music. It is a one-woman show, about 75 minutes. It's at NOCA. It is an amazing show. I'm so proud to be part of it.
BroadwayNola.com, November
Yes.
the 1st.
November the 1st at NOCA, Marisol Montalvo, and it's called Mad Scene.
And the Lupin Theater is just really a great
Oh,
space.
it's so
Jim.
great.
And
It's
then you
perfect
can
for
park
her.
right there. That's what
Yes.
I like too.
Oh, I can walk right there. I live in the Bywater.
Okay. And very quickly, though, I know you're working with, who's Ricky Graham again?
Oh, I know.
We love Ricky.
We are so
Gone
excited.
Pecan.
Gone Pecan. It's you know.
A little bit of a nutcracker.
It is, yeah.
ode.
It's for the tricentennial,
Homage.
and talking about some of the nutty characters who have, made New Orleans. Orleans being one of them, and it is so much fun.
And where's that going to be?
And that's going to be at Rivertown Theater, and that opens November 2nd.
So
and
you're a little
I
busy.
know, I know. But it is an amazing show. Ricky is so great at writing anything New Orleans, and it's so funny.
Yes.
And I wrote a great song about the Baroness Pontalba, and so it's kind of a schoolhouse rock in a way about New Orleans and New Orleans history, but a lot of nostalgic, beautiful music. And Jefferson Turner wrote the music, and I'm not kidding you, there are some songs that are so beautiful that I weep. I'm telling you, it is a great show.
Quick picks here, Sally.
Okay, well, beautiful, idyllic afternoon on the bayou at the Louisiana Landmark Society's Fall Fête, the Fête du Jardin at the Petite House.
All right, great, Poppy.
Well,
Sunday.
the Auction House monthly market dinner series is kicking off next Thursday, and that's on Maxine at the intersection of Poydras Street. One of their vendors will be highlighted at this special dinner series every month. Ought to be really good. The food at the auction market's delicious.
That's a great space.
I love it. I love going there.
Yeah. Vanessa.
So the Orleans exhibition called the Orleans Collection, opening at NOMA the 26th of October next week, running through the end of January. We have wonderful programming, lectures, and a conference in January. And namely, on November 2nd, I'm giving a talk in the auditorium at NOMA that will be my keynote lecture, introducing you to the collection and how the exhibition came to be. So please come.
Yes, absolutely. And Jeff.
Well, I'm so self-involved. I have no idea what else is going on in town. But I want to go to Pascal Manali's festival tomorrow from 3 to 5.
See you there.
I'll be there.
Right. And now for my picks. Don't miss Peter Pan. Alan, and he'll be back next week, said, we got to mention Peter Pan. Shelby Mack, the wonderful Shelby Mack at the Jefferson Performing Arts Center in Metairie. And the show runs weekends until October 28th. You can see Hazel and the Delta Ramblers performing this Sunday, and that's at 5 p.m. at Trinity Episcopal Church as part of their Trinity Artist Concert Series. The St. Catherine's Day Hat Sale and Champagne Party will be next Monday night at the Pearl Wine Company right there in Orleans in the American Can. Visit hatnola.com for more information. Looking ahead, there will be a walking tour of the Lake Vista neighborhood led by Tulane professor John Klingman next Thursday night. The tour starts at the Lake Vista Community Center, and tickets can be purchased at prcno.org, the PRC, of course. A musical about the life and music of tango great Astor Piazzolla will take place at the Loyola University Nunmaker Hall next Friday and Saturday, so it's a week. You can purchase your tickets by calling the number on your screen. And the 14th annual La Creole Conference is next Saturday a week, at the Convocation Annex at Xavier University. Attendees are asked to bring special artifacts showcasing their Creole heritage. Tickets can be purchased at lacreole.org. And don't forget the Jefferson Public Library's big book sale at the Pontchartrain Center through Sunday. That's a big one, let me tell you. Thank you all very much, and thank you for watching. Good night.